y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Worlds of Country podcast. I'm your host, Andrew. On today's episode, I'm joined by Erin McLendon to talk all about her musical journey and so much more. It was such a great conversation. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Talk to you guys on the other side. Hey, Erin, how are you?
I'm great, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing good. What have you been up to lately?
Just getting over the holidays, trying to get back into the swing of things now that we are officially in 2023 and officially in a full work week. So
It's crazy to say both of those things at this point.
I know. I felt like December, everything was at a halt, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I think the first week of December, everybody was just like gearing up to stop just completely.
Yeah, all of a sudden everything just pauses and it
It
feels like it's
did.
never gonna start up again, and then
It did.
boom, it's back.
I think I finally like accepted it the third week of December because I was stressing out the second week trying to be like, we got to do all this because 2023 is coming and we got to hit the ground running because we got a lot going on. And then everybody was like, yeah, we'll worry about that in January. I was like, okay.
So how difficult is it for you to sort of get back into the swing of things now?
It takes me like a couple days. I really appreciated. I'm from North Carolina, and my husband and I went back to North Carolina for Christmas, and we came back, I think, on like the 28th back to Nashville. And I really appreciated like those few days where like nothing was happening and like no one was really working. I think I taught maybe like one lesson, and other than that, I just kind of chilled out and that was nice. It got me ready to like be home and like actually get ready rather than like, when you come back from vacation, you have to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped.
You kind of had like this built-in prep time before you had to go
Yeah.
all in again.
Yeah, exactly.
So when did you know that music was gonna be the thing for you?
Oh man. Since childhood. I didn't know how.
One
Um
way or another.
yeah, I just how like I don't know if you ever played Life, the board game as a kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But there was always one card that said famous singer, and I would like instead of just like drawing random cards, I would dig through the deck and grab that card because no one else could have it but me.
So at what point did it become more than a dream to you?
Well, it's still a dream because there's still things you want to accomplish, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Um, I don't think I'll ever stop dreaming of more and more and more because I feel like you just get bored. I don't
Yeah.
know
If
what those
you
I mean, I do know what they look like for me now, but once I get that, then on to the next thing.
Yeah, there always has to be a next step. Otherwise, there's no motivation to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. But I think really when it clicked was in high school when I was looking at colleges because my parents were always of the camp of you are going to college. It's just a matter of where and what you're going to major in. I was like, okie dokie. Which I'm very thankful for my college experience. But I did a bunch of college tours because my older brother, he's a year ahead of me. So I just went on his college tours with him and then I did my own. And I found out that music was something you could major in. It wasn't just something you took as a class in high school, right? Um, which I did chorus, I did theater, I did all the things. And I loved all of that. I loved performing. I loved being on a stage and singing for people and making them happy, making them feel something with what was coming out of my mouth?
Yeah.
So in college, I went to Belmont University in Nashville and I just decided that I was going to be a musician. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I wanted it, I still want it to look like, the Carrie Underwoods, the Miranda Lamberts, the Kelsey Ballerinis of the world. Um, but that's really when I just decided like this is what I'm doing and there is no other option.
So before you decided on Belmont, were you certain that Nashville was eventually where you wanted to end up at one day?
I really didn't know, to be honest. Because in my head, in high school you're told like you go to college to prepare for a job. Like
Right.
that's what they tell you. And the thing is like you don't really realize as a high schooler that there is like once you get the job, you don't have to settle for that job for the rest of your life. But in high school, that's what you think, right?
Yeah, everything's so there's only one path, there's only one everything.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was looking at colleges and schools, and Belmont was really the only one that offered a commercial voice program where you don't just learn to sing opera or classical music, or you don't just do like music education, which was my other option. Um, which ironically, I am now a music educator as well on a full-time musician, which I love. But I just didn't know what it was going to look like. And when I went to Belmont and they showed me like, hey, this is right across the street from Music Row. Here are the opportunities we offer our students. And you don't just have to learn classical music. You can learn any genre you want. Basically, it's like a choose your own adventure, which is truly kind of what college is. But
Yeah.
um that's really what sold it for me, was Belmont, just being like, you can be the country music singer or the pop singer or whatever you want to be, as long as you go through our program and work hard and do well.
So did you almost get like lost in that world with this like whole menu of choices to choose from, or did you always sort of know country was the direction you wanted to go?
You know, not really. I joke that like I'm a decisive indecisive person.
Decisively indecisive.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was just trying everything. I thought it was fun, and I'm really appreciative of the teachers that I had, because I said, I want to try this. They said, okay, then try it. Because their job is to teach me what I want to learn, not teach me what they want me to learn, right?
Yeah.
Like the voice teachers specifically. Like obviously a theory teacher is going to teach you theory. There's no way around that.
Nothing you
um,
could do about that one.
No, no. But my voice teacher, I told him, I was like, I want to learn to sing everything. He goes, then sing everything. I don't care. I'm here to teach you technique and what you want to learn. I said, okay. And then when it came to like songwriting, once I was done, so I don't know how familiar you are with like music programs.
Not terribly familiar,
Okay.
but
Well, at
not
the
like
end,
unfamiliar, but I know a little bit.
okay, well, just like crash course real quick. At the end of your senior year, you do a recital. And that recital, like for me, it happened in February, and that's supposed to be like the culmination of everything you've learned. And for me, it was only a 30-minute recital as opposed to the hour recital that the performance majors got. I was a music business emphasis rather than a performance emphasis. Because I wanted to learn about the industry I was walking into from a
Yeah.
like a business perspective. And so I did a 30-minute recital in February, and then I had until May to finish voice lessons. My teacher's like, you're done. I mean, you did your recital, so you can basically treat these doing whatever you want. And so he said, if you want to be a songwriter, write a song every single week. Bring it to me and we'll work on it. And I'll tell you if it sucks or not. And I was like, cool. Thanks.
How long did it take you to find one that didn't suck?
He always approached it from a technique perspective. And the accompanist I had, he was really great about being like, you should probably take this in a different direction. Like he would help me like write melodies and stuff, but lyrically he'd be like, I don't know how to fix it, but you should fix that.
I can't tell you what to do, but this isn't
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Which I appreciate people like that. And when you go into songwriting sessions and people are like, I don't know how to fix that, but that's not it. That ain't it. Then you're
So
like,
what would you
oh, okay.
so what would you say have been some of the bigger lessons that you've learned in your time in Nashville?
Keep going. If it's what you want in your heart of hearts and deep down in your soul, and you kept drawing the singer card in the game of life, literally and
Drawing.
figuratively. Yeah. Stealing, deliberately taking, um, then it's obviously what you're supposed to do. And so just keep going, because this industry is hard, as I'm sure you know, like from any perspective, from any position in the industry, because I have friends who are in like every aspect. My husband's in the industry, but he's on like the booking side and he works on the venue side. So I get to see it from every aspect, and it's hard, no
Yeah,
matter
I think
which
from
way.
from the outside, I don't think anyone could really appreciate all the intricacies of this crazy industry. It's
No,
like there's
because
so many layers to it.
it's not black and white.
No.
It's not like and I feel like I'm gonna get at for this. Like, don't at me. But it's not like accounting to where like a $5 bill is a $5 bill, right?
There's no formula to this.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely none. And people are just like throwing things against the wall and hoping something sticks. And there are some people who know better than others, right? Like
Yeah.
experience does help you out in this situation. Um, but then you get people who just come out of left field and take out over the industry, and everybody's like, didn't think that would work, but okay.
Yeah, just look at TikTok. It's the fact that that's
Exactly.
the main, basically the main source of music discovery today is crazy.
It is. It is. I really need to be better about TikTok. I'm so that's one of my resolutions for this year is be better at social media. Like Instagram I had down and then TikTok came along and I was like, "No. Not
When I learned the
another one."
last one, here's a new one.
I'm in my 30s, okay? I mastered MySpace and then that went away. I tried to figure out Twitter and now God knows that's blowing up again. I like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Be Real now.
There's too, and then everyone tries to copy the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna
It's
just be over here singing. Thanks.
whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Oh man, it's fine.
Oh yeah. So was there ever a point where you maybe thought maybe this isn't for me, or did you always sort of find that resolve in you to keep going?
1000%. 1000%. You have those like existential crises. I like to think that musicians have midlife crises like once every other year.
I'm
It's
shocked
like
it's like that, not more often than that.
it probably is. It probably is. Like, but like the real ones of I quit the industry. This sucks. You know, it's like a 2 year cycle or so. If not like a weekly cycle sometimes. It just depends on where you are in the album cycle, really. um, yeah, no, it's just one of those things where it's like I would love to just like be able to work a quote unquote big girl job where I just go into an office 9 to 5, I get benefits, there's a 401k, I go home and I'm done, right?
Yeah.
I think I froze or you
Yeah,
froze.
you
I
froze.
can't tell.
You're frozen. Let me pause this.
So I wish I could just have like you have these like existential crises saying like I wish I had this big girl job where I could just like go to the office 9 to 5, have a 401k, have benefits and be done. And that's the end of my day, you know? Have 2 weeks paid vacation, you know, PTO, sick days, all those things rather than, you know, working for myself. And if I don't work, I don't make money.
That some of us are just not wired that way at the end of the day.
No, I'm really not. I tried. I honestly tried to be like, okay, I can have a job and I can like sing gigs on the side and I can like do all this stuff and maybe like I can have both. You can't have both.
Yeah,
Not when you're
one or
creative.
the other. No,
I have learned I work best as an entrepreneur.
yeah, as hard as it is, it's the only thing that to some of us, it's the only way that it's worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm glad I figured that out in my 20s rather than, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, later on.
yeah.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about your album that you put out at the end of August, your
Yes.
self-titled album. Could you tell us a little bit behind the album, how it came together, and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I lovingly call this album my collection of misfits because they're all songs I've written over the last decade that either didn't make it onto a project or made it onto a project that eventually got taken down to make room for a different project or that I've just like loved and they never actually got recorded. Um so I think the earliest song was written 5 years ago. um but they're all songs that are just very personal to me and There's some of the my favorites that I've written, and so I'm very proud of it.
Are there any one or two that stick out as above the rest for you, or are they all your little song babies?
They're all my little song babies. I love like to perform live. I love singing Sunday Crowd because people love that song. They love like the chorus is very singable. It's very like catchy, but also like the story behind it is very sassy and it's based on a true story, kind of loosely. Um, but it's just so fun to sing live. And then people love the story behind Millie, which is the song about my great grandmother when she found out that her husband was cheating on her. And so she packed up her four girls and she was pregnant at the time. And she moved from Texas to Florida and raised her kids on her own. Um, but not before she tried to teach him a lesson. So that's a fun one because,
A lot of country themes going on in that one.
yeah, yeah.
It's country bingo.
For real though. Oh my God. Someone should send me a bingo card and I'll just like go through my album and start marking them off. I don't sing, well, yeah, I don't sing about trucks. I don't think I've ever mentioned a truck in a
There's too
song.
many of those songs anyways.
Yeah, it's for real. Don't get me wrong. I love Lainey Wilson's song "Heart Like a Truck." That's a great
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, but that's not like truly a truck song. That's like
No,
a truck song with a
yeah,
twist.
it's a truck song with meaning.
Yeah. Hard to find one of those.
For real.
So, we talked about lessons before. What would you say have been some of the bigger challenges that you found in the industry?
Um, about learning lessons.
Lessons you've learned,
Yeah.
the hard way, not the hard way.
Um, Lessons I've learned the hard way is don't be so jaded that you shut people off, but also don't be so naive that you get yourself into trouble. There's like a delicate balance between the two.
There's a line there for sure, and
Yeah.
it's very easy to
Yeah.
cross it.
Yeah. And always be kind to people because you never know when you're going to run into them again.
Yeah, it makes
There's
for an awkward time if you're not.
but seriously, like, just recently I ran into somebody who I didn't get along with, like, we did not work well together. And I ran into them at an event and I was just like, oh, hello. I'm not gonna be a fake person and like be like, hi, it's been so long. That's not me. And you can see right through it pretty quickly because I'm a terrible liar.
Yeah.
But I will avoid you like the plague, so I don't have to do that. It's yeah,
That's yeah, it's hard to overcome
yeah. And it's
those
just
first impressions.
and word gets around, you know. If you're not nice to somebody, like people are gonna find out. They're gonna talk about you.
Yeah.
And this town is 100% based off of who you know and recommendations.
Yeah.
So I'd be much more concerned about what people are saying about me behind my back than what they're saying to me to my face.
Yeah.
And
Nashville's got to be like the biggest small town
it
in the world.
is. It is because I've been here 14 years now and I still run into the same people I met in the first week I went to college
Wow.
in the
They're
industry.
so how would you said you've been in Nashville for 14 years now. What would you say have been some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the industry?
In the industry?
The industry.
I was about to say, have you looked at 12th Avenue? That used to be not somewhere you walked at night. And now it's insane. Reese Witherspoon has a store on 12th Avenue. But Mafiosis is still there, and as long as it's still there, I'm happy. But in the industry, there have been a lot more genre bending artists in the industry and a lot more like pop sounds sonically.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say I've been hearing some up and coming artists who are kind of leaning back into that like 90s country vibe, which I've loved.
Yeah, well, once something sort of gets pushed out, it sort of finds its way back in one way or another.
Yeah,
Because there's
everything's
like
kind of
this hunger for it.
yeah, everything's kind of having I'm seeing like, like in the 2010 to 2020, the 80s were making a resurgence in like fashion and in music, and now that it's 2020 to 2025, 2030, maybe the 90s are making a resurgence, like the
Yeah.
90s and early 2000s. And so, and personally, not too happy about that with the fashion thing because I already dealt with that when I was a kid.
No need to relive it.
I really, really don't. um, but yeah, I'm just hearing more like there's a lot of songs that are like produced and like overproduced almost, but then there are songs that are coming back and they're using more live instruments.
Yeah,
And I
and it's
think
nice to
again,
have sort of that mix.
yeah, there's a delicate balance because some songs they sound really cool with some of the things you can't get on a live instrument, but you can on a computer.
Yeah. And technology, I think, is also a delicate thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So aside from the music that you put out yourself, you also run all female showcases, your music on the move. Could you tell us a little bit behind that and how that got started?
Yeah. So, Music on the Move Studios is the whole company, and Music on the Move are the all-female showcases that I run. The next one is March 20th at the Basement East, which I'm very excited about. Um, I don't know when this episode's coming out, but submissions close next Monday, so
You may or
um,
not be too late. We'll find out.
we'll find out, guys. But those started back in 2019 at Exit In, and it was all because I kept asking for shows at Exit In just to be like, "Hey, do you need an opener?" Do because I knew people who worked there, and so I kept asking for opening slots, and then I kept asking for like bigger shows, and finally they gave me a show, and I went, "Oh crap!" It's like a dog chasing its tail. It finally gets the tail, and it's like, now
Yeah.
what?
Now what do I do?
um, So Exit In is a 500 cap venue. So I was just like, well, the best way to do this is to bring in more people who will bring in more ticket sales basically.
Yeah.
And so I called my friend Katie Baston, who she's another Belmont person, but she's also from my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. And I called my friend Lexi Larson, who's a good friend of mine, and I said, "Hey, you want to co-headline this show with me, and help me sell tickets?" And thankfully they said yes. And one of my biggest pet peeves about multi artist shows is the set change. Because to me, like when you're bringing people on and off stage, like you're loading stuff in, you're loading stuff out.
Yeah.
If you don't have an experienced crew, it can take 15 to 20 minutes
Yeah.
and the energy just dies and people leave. So I
Yeah. If
decided
there's
to
too much
have
of a lull, it almost
exactly, exactly. And for a show on a weeknight, you don't want to lull. People are going to go home. And so I think the first one was on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. And I was like, I got to keep the show moving. So that's how the Hellcats were made, the all female house band. And so, and I hosted it. And I also, at that point, I performed in the band as well as a backup singer. Um, I don't do that anymore. It's too much.
you
But
found your calling somewhere else.
I for real. But I would perform and then somebody would come on and do their set, then I'd perform in between sets and then somebody would come on and do their set and then I'd perform again and then the night would be over. Um but the thing was, I wasn't guaranteed the ticket sales to pay the band. So I decided we would have all female owned pop-up shops as vendors the in the venue and their vendor fee paid for the band.
Such a cool idea.
Thank you. But it's also like, yes, they pay a fee, but they can sell their goods and make their fee back. And
Yeah.
it's also great marketing for them. So that's kind of how that happened because basically an accident, but then I loved it and decided to keep going. And so we've just kind of been 2019 was really great. And then 2020 all the way through 2022, we've just kind of been holding on.
Trying to get back to where it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we had some
Yeah.
showcases in 2022. All of the ones in 2021 were acoustic and monthly because everybody was still afraid of COVID, and COVID's still a thing. It's just I think more people are like our bodies are getting used to it, you know.
Yeah.
But now in March, we're only going to do it twice a year this year. It was four times a year, but that gives us room to make it bigger than ever. So I'm super excited about that. And from that, from those showcases, I've met a ton of people, including my business partner, Katie Thompson, who has Paradox Jukebox, the podcast. And the whole reason we teamed up together was because she and I were actually trading lessons. I teach voice lessons, she teaches guitar, and we're doing them virtually anyway. And we started like recommending students to each other. And so we just teamed up, and Music on the Move Studios was born.
It's a crazy, crazy Genesis story there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you in terms of your music?
I am trying to play shows. I'm writing still. I took like a writing hiatus in 2021 because I wrote a lot, like a lot in 2019 and 2020. So I was just kind of like looking at what I have, and now I'm back to writing again, which I'm really excited about. I'm playing shows in North Carolina, in Georgia. I'm trying to book a couple more shows in different states just to get around the country. And hopefully some festivals.
Those are the highlights for a lot of artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So do you feel like that hiatus sort of gave you a new perspective going back into writing songs now, or
It did because I was trying to do it as a practice, just to like keep that muscle going, that creative muscle going. But now it's more of like, this is what I want to write
yeah,
rather than
and the
just
other
like, I have to.
yeah, and it's so easy to get burned out just doing the same thing over and over again, even though it's what you love to do. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Your brain needs a
so,
break.
oh yeah, and sometimes we let it go too far before we give it what it needs.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to do a little rapid fire with you before I let you go, if that's cool with
Okay.
you.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Let's do this then. If you could only eat one food the rest of your life, what would it be?
Shrimp.
Shrimp. Listen to three artists the rest of your life.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Uh, uh, Paul McCartney. Um, ah, Lizzo and Carrie Underwood.
What a mix! What a mix!
I know. I listen. If I could just say Disney as a whole, I would, but I don't think that's an option.
Would not the judges would not accept that one.
Dang. Okay.
If you could only listen to one song the rest of your life, what would it be?
One?
One.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. You said rapid fire. That's a hard question. Oh, shoot. Okay. Um, okay, so I'm a runner and I've been listening to a lot of Lizzo because it's a great album to her last album was a great album to listen to in general, but when you're running, it's a great pump up album. Uh, ugh. I'm like looking around my office to see what songs. Anything by Dolly Parton.
That was not where I was expecting you to go after all the
I
listeners.
know, I know. Like I love Lizzo, but like there's only so many times you can hear about damn time.
There's something more timeless about the Dolly stuff for sure.
Yes.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Waffles. Good answer. That's the right answer there.
Yes.
Biggest pet peeve?
Chewing with your mouth open.
Ooh, yes.
Hate it.
Another,
Can't
yeah,
stand the sound.
yeah. That and people smelly foods on airplanes. It's my
Oh my
other one.
God. Like why? Why?
Yeah, there's no need for that.
No.
Well,
No.
thank you so much again for taking the time for this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. I think this was a good way to kick off the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for you and your new season and for 2023.
Excited for you too. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Hey y'all, thank you guys so much again for tuning in. If you liked what you heard from Erin, be sure to go check out her music wherever you listen to music, and be sure to go check her out on social media. If you liked what you heard from the podcast, be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. We really appreciate that. And also go check us out on social media at Worlds of Country on all platforms. Talk to you guys next time. Have a great day.